Though it is 5:38, and of course the big story of the day is Hurricane Ian and what impacts we could see from that.
Exactly. We definitely want to be prepared. So without further ado, meteorologist Alex Forbes has us covered on that.
Yes, and the good news is we've got some time to watch it. We've got some time to prepare whatever you need to do here in central Georgia for wind and rain. We're not going to have a hurricane rolling through, but we are going to be looking at the possibility of wind and rain and the likelihood of several nice days before we get there, including today. We've got temperatures in the 60s this morning, 63 in Macon, 64 in Warner Robins. Closer to the 50s there in Dublin at 61 right now, and 63 in Perry, about 64 in Cochrane, 65 in Jeffersonville, and 63 to get your morning started there in Jones County. Down towards the south, I think there's something up with this east wind sensor. It's always a handful of degrees cooler than everybody else, but it's checking in at 55 this morning. All these temperatures going to drop as we head into tonight, thanks to a cold front that's sliding its way through. You can see that here draped across the northern part of the state down in towards Louisiana and Texas. That's going to continue to slide on down to the south. So as we head through the day today, we're going to be looking for temperatures into the 80s fairly quickly, 84 by about noon, and then into the afternoon hours, not much warmer, so mid to upper 80s for high temperatures today. And then for tonight, cooling back off down into the 50s, maybe even low 50s at that, feeling Tuesday morning, feeling like Saturday morning here in central Georgia, that crispness in the air. But then for the afternoon hours, back into the upper 70s. And then notice this cloud cover here, how it has this arcing feature. This is Ian beginning to approach the coast. So as we head into the next few days, the cold front going to keep us rather cool down into the 70s, 69 there on Friday, courtesy of this thing. This is Hurricane Ian, winds of 75 miles an hour. As of the update that came in less than an hour ago there at 5 a.m., you can see a center beginning to develop right in there. It wouldn't surprise me by midday or so if we have a very well-defined eye wall. Hurricane warnings in effect for western Cuba down towards Santa Fe, Havana, right there on the border, but then also tropical storm warnings for the Keys now from the 7 Mile Bridge through Key West there and on into the Gulf of Mexico. Also up towards Tampa, a hurricane watch and a tropical storm watch there south of Fort Myers. As we head into the next few days, Ian going to continue this northwestward track there across Cuba. Notice, even though it's interacting with land, it's not weakening because the water is just so warm. This area of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea hasn't seen a tropical system this year, so it is just bath water down there. A Category 4 hurricane here. This is Wednesday at 2 a.m. just off the shore of Fort Myers. Now notice the cone beginning to pull this up closer to central Georgia. Landfall could be anywhere from Fort Myers through Tampa up through the Big Bend over to Panama City, but the general consensus over the past few days has been this Big Bend region right in here, right where it shows a Category 1 hurricane coming ashore, and then Saturday at 2 a.m. a tropical storm somewhere right along this white line from central Alabama all the way to off of the coast. Obviously, that includes us here in central Georgia. Here's how the major global models are handling this. Much better agreement than what we were talking about last week. You can see riding there the west coast of Florida and then eventually into central Georgia here. And what we're watching for closely is which side of the storm do we end up on? Because if it tracks towards the west, that puts us on the dirty side of the storm. If it tracks towards the east of central Georgia, that puts us on the better side of the storm. Not necessarily the good side of the storm, but the better side. And you can see the GFS ensembles. The GFS run a bunch of different times showing roughly the same thing. So a lot to watch with this system. We're going to be doing that here over the next week or so. 87 here in Macon today, mostly sunny, windy at times thanks to that cold front. Winds out of the northwest 10 to 15 miles an hour. Sun rises at 7:25 this morning. And here's how things shape up on the 7-day forecast. Talk about the next few days since we didn't have a lot of time to talk about it earlier. 87 today. Once we get into the middle part of the week, temperatures cooling off thanks to that cold front. But then potential impacts could begin Thursday night here in central Georgia from Ian. That would be wind and rain, all day rain on Friday, and then into Saturday morning, maybe even into the afternoon hours, some rain as well. As of now, I've got a 40% chance of rain there on Saturday. If you have weekend plans, it looks like Sunday is going to be the better day for that as the storm begins to push out of the southeast and on up into the mid-Atlantic.